Well, Lisa, Breaking Dawn Part 2 is the 5th Twilight movie. I'm not going to say it's the last one because Edward and Bella have a daughter, Renesmee, and you never know. This movie feels like it might as well be the 15th Twilight movie. Look, here is what I think doesn't work in this series and what does. What hasn't been good is that Stephenie Meyer is not a great storyteller. The films are narratively lumpy. They kind of sprawl and meander all over the place. But what I do think works is that they tap into a certain teen pop schlock, otherworldly, sexually incorrect, neo-Victorian rapture that I think is very appealing. Whenever I go into a new Twilight movie, I have to admit it's just an assignment. I don't really have an organic desire to see another one.
No, we are not the demographic.
And by the time the movie is over, I have been drawn in all over again. That happened this time. I think it actually ends the series on a high note, especially with a great, great, great twist ending that just I found kind of exhilarating and made up for a lot of the flaws in the movie and the flaws in the series. I'm glad that this series is coming to a close, but I enjoyed every one of these movies.
So in other words, you really are a secret twihard. See, you can tell my voice has been taken by the Volturi, but I will try and explain what I thought. The thing that I liked about this concluding episode, besides the fact that it is the concluding episode, is that apparently vampiredom has finally made her dress better. Bella actually being bitten.
It agrees with her.
It does agree with her. She looks better than she ever has. And I thought that this was a kind of fun ending to what, as you say, became a sort of interminable series. By part 1 of this conclusion, if you had read my reviews, you know that I had checked out. I'd had it with Kristen Stewart's mopey poutiness.
You'd had it.
I'd had it. And this was a nice sort of coda. I think you do put your finger on what this is all about. I'm amazed at the intensity of excitement. When I went to the screenings, people were cheering still for whether they were Team Edward or Team Jacob.
Well, in some ways, those kind of debates are over, and now it's all of our heroes versus the Volturi, which I think actually makes it...
I like the Volturi, actually.
Yeah, well, I love Michael Sheen in this movie. He gets to cap it up more than ever. Yeah, and I think that made it a kind of classic monster movie showdown. But let's talk for a second about what is the appeal of this series. Look, the great pop culture critic Albert Goldman once said that all true pop culture is counterculture. It's not about the status quo. It's always, in a way, moving against the status quo, a kind of pendulum swing. That's what I think the Twilight movies do. They go back to something very traditional. But what they announce is that this kind of way of thinking about men and women, boys and girls, sexuality, really old-fashioned role models, this isn't just old, it's new again.
Except that I think actually really what it's about is sex. This is about sex, forbidden sex, whether you can have it, how dangerous it's going to be when you do it, how you're going to be changed as a result of committing to having sex. I think that take away Albert Goldman, who I think makes a good point, but I think it comes down to teenagers and the dangers and excitement of attraction.
Well, I think the idea of putting the danger back in sex is a very old-fashioned idea because, of course, our consumer culture has,
says that it's casual now.
Yeah, it says, and it's just about hooking up. And this, in a way, is the anti-hooking up movie. This says that there is danger, something is really at stake, and that a girl like Bella is really giving herself to this man in the sort of like the Bronte sister style. And I think that ties very much in with the way that teenagers want to feel. They want romance back in their lives. And these movies are powerful statements about romance and about girl power, about girls really taking the reins, wanting to be overpowered, but also
really
controlling it.
That this is not about girl power.
It absolutely is.
No, I think that this is about passivity in girls. So this is a whole other conversation. We are running out of time, but this is a whole entire conversation. Let's just wait till The Hunger Games Part 2 comes back, and we can talk about women and girls who really have power.